It has been a few months since I have showed up here on my podcast. We're going to get into all of the reasons why, but the main thing that I wanted to talk about in today's episode is the importance of rest. And I think that that's what I was doing. So let's get into it. So, to be honest, at the end of the school year, I got really busy and I didn't have the time to film and whatnot. And then summer break came around and I feel like I am pushing so hard all year long, but especially in that second semester, because as a high school choir teacher, that's when we are preparing for things like our, spring choir concert, our banquet. It's just push, push, push. And by the time I'm done administering finals and grading them and putting everything in the grade book and getting my room and my office cleaned up, I collapse into my bed. And we have this habit as a family of planning family vacations literally the second summer begins. So as soon as we're done with school, we have this vacation that comes around and it just almost turns something off in my brain where I'm physically unable to even think about work or about school for the entire summer. And I love it. I love that that's how it's been the last few years, is just having that trip right at the beginning of the summer to signal the fact that school is over. It's okay to take a break from thinking about school and my classroom and my students. It's okay to really spend focused and undistracted time with my family. And that's exactly what we did. So that's why I've been gone. I went on a trip at the beginning of the summer with my family to Maui and then Japan. It was wonderful. And then we came back, had a little bit of a break, helped out with our church's VBS program, had a little bit of a break. And then we went to Seattle where my parents live and we spent some really great quality time with them. We have some friends there as well, spent some time with them as well. It was wonderful. And it was just a wonderful break. And again, I think that to some degree, it's really important to take these rest times, whether it's summer break or winter break or spring break. I think it's really important to use them to rest from school. I was aggressive about not checking my school email. And there were a few people who emailed me about school matters and then they would follow up and be like, hey, I don't know if you saw my first email. And when I did eventually get around to responding, I always just let them know, hey, I'm so sorry. I just really make it a point not to check my school email as much as I can over the summer. And every single person was like, that's exactly what you should be doing. And I think the importance of resting from school and really taking a break and kind of having a clean cut from the end of the school year into the summer. One of the reasons I need for that to happen is I really need to take the entirety of the summer to miss teaching and to miss my students because, by the time the end of May rolls around, it's not that I'm sick of looking at these kids, but I'm sick of looking at these kids. You know what I mean? Everyone's done. They're done. I'm done. Everyone just wants to be done. And it kind of leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. But when you have the entire summer and you're not doing anything school related, for me, I'm not doing any PD type stuff. I'm not out here attending conferences or, taking classes to better my craft. I am just luxuriating on the beach. I am just playing silly games with my kids in the car. We are just as far away physically and mentally as we can be from school. And the beautiful thing that starts to happen then is just if you have ever had a child, the first few months of postpartum and recovering from having that baby, it's so hard. It's so traumatic. It's so many sleepless nights. And you think to yourself, why does anyone ever have more than one kid? But you forget, a year passes and you forget that it was that awful right after you had the baby. And you're thinking to yourself, I think I want another one. And in the same way, if you give yourself the summer to just take as many steps away from that school building as possible, you start to forget like how stressful it can be, and you start to forget about, these students who may have really gotten at your wit's end toward the end of the school year, and you really find yourself being like, I can't wait to get back into the classroom. I can't wait to, teach these students. And you start to feel inspired, and of your own accord, you find yourself starting to lesson plan in your head. For me, as a choir teacher, I'm starting to look at repertoire for the year, and it's all coming organically and naturally. I'm not forcing it, and therefore it just feels so much better. I need a rest when it comes to my summer. I need it to just be time where I get to do the things that I want to do. So like I said, I traveled. I spent time in my garden, and I really threw myself into my side hustle, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. Because for me, even though that's not necessarily restful, it's something that I am always craving during the school year. I'm always craving more time to spend on my side hustle. And so it feels like a luxury to be able to throw myself at it and to be able to invest so much time and energy into it in ways that I can't do during the school year. So that's what I spent my summer doing. And it was wonderful. And I would love to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments, what did you spend your summer doing? If you are listening to this on a podcast episode, you can, I think my email is linked down below. You can send me an email. I just love to hear from you. What did you spend your summer doing? And just a quick note, I shared about how over the summer, we did a lot of traveling. Hawaii is not a cheap place to vacation to. Neither is Japan, although accommodations in Japan, depending on how you do it, can be pretty cheap, especially compared to the US. But obviously getting out there is not super cheap. And Seattle, not the cheapest place in the world. If anything, it's one of the most expensive places in the United States. And a lot of people ask me, because I'm very active on my social media when I'm talking about traveling and whatnot, people will ask me, how are you able to travel so much and so luxuriously? Because oftentimes we stay in really nice hotels, we get suites, and people will ask, how can you afford that as a teacher? One reason, obviously, is because of my side hustles, which we've talked about on this podcast. But the other thing that my husband and I do is we're very heavy into traveling with credit card points. So we kind of adhere to the Chase world. We are definitely people who are loyal to Chase. We don't have like Bank of America and American Express. Like, we just do everything through Chase. And the reason for that is because of their Ultimate Rewards program, which you're able to basically take all of your credit card spend through different Chase credit cards, and you can funnel them into travel partners like Hyatt, like United. And with Hyatt especially, we've been able to take those points, just, credit card spend that we're doing like regularly. We're not going out of our way to spend crazy amounts of money. We're just, paying for groceries and gas and things like that with our credit cards. But in doing so, we're able to take the points that we earn, and instead of getting cash back for them, which is what a lot of people do, we take the route of funneling those points into our travel partners like Hyatt, because then those points become worth so much more. And because we have so many Hyatt points, we're able to take those points and reserve nights at really top-notch locations and properties all over the world. And that's how we were able to travel to places like Maui and Japan and not pay out of pocket at all. Like, I'm trying to think back. I think we paid for everything with points. And in Hawaii, we stayed at two different locations. One was in Hana, and we got upgraded because of our status. We're globalist through Hyatt. That's like the highest tier status that you can achieve. And that's just from, again, our loyalty to the brand. And as a result, they upgraded us to a bungalow, like right on the water. It was so beautiful. And we were just able to use points to book our regular room. Had we tried to get that same bungalow with cash, it would have been over $1,000 a night. Teachers cannot afford that. And then we were in the kind of ritzier part of Maui for the second half of our trip. There we stayed at one of the nicest Hyatt hotels on the island, which was the Andaz. And again, we got upgraded to a suite, or maybe we used a suite upgrade award that we had earned. And again, it was a room that would have cost anywhere from $600 to $800 a night if we were to use cash. But we don't use cash because we have all these points from using our credit cards wisely. And then in Japan, same thing. We were just able to stay in some really nice places, get some sweet upgrades, and it just looks like we're spending so much money on travel when really we're traveling as far as our accommodations are concerned, literally for free. Like, it's just money that we have already spent through credit cards, and we get those points and we're able to put them towards these rooms. That's how you got to do it. And let me know, again, in the comments or elsewhere, if you want me to maybe do a deeper dive into how I travel as a teacher as cheaply as possible. Because that is one of the best things about being a teacher, is having these long breaks, especially summer break. But even for us, we get a fall break, we get a winter break, we get spring break. And if you are smart about how you use your credit cards, you can definitely use those break times to rest from your work, but rest in some really cool places if you are strategic about how you use your credit card. So that's just a little side tangent, because I know people often wonder, how as a teacher do you travel the way that you do? And even with my side hustles, yes, I make really good money with them, but not enough to justify staying at the kinds of places that we stay. But again, the way that we do it is by doing it for free with points based off of money that we've already spent on our credit card. So just a sidebar. But let's talk a little bit more about what it means to rest, and to rest from work, to rest from school. I think, again, for me, it's in my best interest to not even open my school inbox. It's in my best interest to not even drive past my school building if possible. Like, I just try to live a life as if I'm not even a teacher. I throw myself into things like my side hustles, into my family, into just doing things that fill me with joy, again, like gardening. And I have found that time of rest and sleeping, like actual physical rest, like being able to sleep a little bit more, being able to move my body more. By doing those things, I think that when I return to school in the fall, I am such a better version of myself. And I don't know if you've ever stepped into your school building that first day back, and if you've ever encountered that really bitter teacher, like the teacher who is so upset about having to return to work. I don't want to ever be that teacher. Like, I want to be thankful that I get to teach, and thankful that I get to spend the time with the students that I get to. I don't want to walk in already just so upset and angry with the fact that I have another year of this work ahead of me. And by resting in the way that I do, and going almost a little overboard with how much I stay away from school, I think that it's just enough time. Summer is just enough days for me to get some of that enthusiasm and passion back for being in the classroom and for working with my students. So whatever you need to do in the last few days, weeks of your break to maximize this time of rest that you have, I say do it. I am just such a huge ambassador of the idea that it's okay to take a step back from your building and to just kind of feed your own soul in the meantime, so that you are excited and rearing to go when it is that first day of school. But let's talk about that inevitable day where it is time to go back and just getting back into the swing of things. And this is always the part that terrifies me the most, I think, because I'm always like, how am I going to get back into the rhythm of teaching? Because it's a lot. You know, in the summer, you are able to just kind of lazily go about your day. You can cook when you feel like it. You don't really have to prep as much food because you can just, you know, go grocery shopping right before your meal if you want. Like, there's just a lot more time and a lot more freedom to do everyday things. Whereas when you start teaching, I don't know about you, but if I don't meal prep, if I don't pack my lunch the day before, like I'm basically just not going to eat that next day. And there's just a lot more that goes into being a productive human being while working in a school setting. And so for me, when it comes to getting back into the swing of things, I know one thing I'm trying to do as far as my side hustles are concerned, I am trying to use these last few days, and I think I have roughly a week and some change before my first institute days. And even before that, I am going to go back into the building and work with some students to prepare them for performances that we do literally, like one is before school at freshman orientation and one is for our district's opening day, institute day. And so while I'll have a few hours that get carved out of those couple days for me to do some school things, generally speaking, I am using these last few days to prep my reselling business and my YouTube channel for when I have to go back to work. So I am just front loading as much as I can in regards to filming, in regards to taking pictures of inventory so that I can list them at the very beginning of the school year, because at some point I'll be in the rhythm of things and I will feel normal when it comes to my school schedule. But I don't know about you, that first day or two of being with students, I come home and like collapse on my bed. I am asleep by like 7 p.m. because there is something so tiring about being around so many people all day, and your primary job is keeping them alive and teaching them, and like to do that all day after not having done that the entire summer, it's hard to get back into the swing of things, and it really takes a lot out of you that first or second week. So I already know from experience that first or second week, I'm just not going to be able to do as much with my reselling business because I'm not going to have the energy to do so. And so right now, I am prepping for the upcoming school year, not even for what I'm going to be doing in my classroom or for work, but I am prepping my side hustles to sustain the injury that it's going to get from me just not having the energy to do anything with my side hustles once school starts. So knowing that, I am definitely preparing a lot on that front and getting as much done ahead of time. And I'm just trying to like build a good rhythm for myself when it comes to my reselling business so that it doesn't come to a screeching halt. So that is one thing that I'm doing, but I'm also in pencil scheduling out what life could look like for me when school starts back up again and trying to ease back in. So for example, in the summer, I can wake up whenever I want. And no matter how late I wake up, my kids still wake up later than me. So we all like to sleep in this household, but slowly starting to set my alarm clock a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier so that it's not such a shock that first day of school when I have to get up at the crack of dawn. It's things like trying to get into the rhythm of time blocking rather than just doing things willy-nilly, because right now I have a plethora of time, but when it comes to the school year, time is a luxury. Any time that I have for my reselling business, any time that I have for my family, any time that I have for my YouTube channel, it is a luxury, and it is not something that I can depend on. Some days I have the time and some days I just simply don't. So working on being as efficient as possible with all of my processes, even like, I've been reselling for a really long time, but I've actually been taking the time in the last week or so to try to make my listing process even more efficient, because I'm learning if I want to sustain this level of reselling once the school year starts, I'm going to have to be more efficient, and I'm finding little holes and little areas that I can tweak in order to make that possible, in order to actually speed up certain parts of the process, eliminate some parts of the process altogether. And so I'm just starting to streamline that process so that I can be faster at listing once the school year starts. And it's even things like, I'm looking around right now, I'm in my reselling space, and it is a mess. And understanding that this mess needs to be taken care of before the school year starts, because again, that's just not something that I'm really going to have time for. And with it being as messy as it is, it impedes on my efficiency as a reseller. So, just really starting to figure out what things can I do right now to make that transition back into teaching full time just a little bit easier. So those are some of the things that I thought of just so that I can find that balance between my side hustles and my full-time teaching gig a little faster than I typically do, because every school year I feel like my reselling business just comes to a screeching halt because it takes me a good 2 to 3 weeks to recover from the beginning of the school year. And I don't want that to happen this time. I don't want to lose any of the momentum that I've built, especially since I've come back from Seattle and had to kind of rebuild momentum there too, because I had to take a week and a half off from my reselling business. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that I can smoothly transition back into the school year without disrupting what's going on in my reselling business and with my YouTube channel and all of those things. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys on what I've been up to, what I plan on doing as I get ready to get back into the school year. And my plan with this podcast moving forward is to commit to uploading 1 episode a week every Tuesday, so that you have something to look forward to in your week, so that you have someone else in your corner who is going through similar things as you, trying to juggle a side hustle with their teaching job, with a family maybe, or just other responsibilities that you may have. It's not easy. It's a lot to juggle. It's a lot to keep track of. And I want you to know that I'm right there with you. I am in the trenches with you, and I feel all of the struggles, and they are hard. And just because maybe I'm a little bit further on that you maybe you are right at the beginning of trying to get your side hustle off the ground, maybe you've been at it for a little bit and you're just not finding the success that you want, I want you to know that I've been through all of that and more. And although to some they may look at the reselling business and my YouTube channel and just my different side hustles and think to themselves, oh my gosh, like she's doing really well for herself, she's super successful, she's, more than doubling her income through these side hustles and what she makes as a teacher. Yes, that is success in the eyes of many people. And I acknowledge the fact that that is definitely success. But I have really big goals, and I want to scale, and I want to show up with even bigger numbers than what I'm posting now. So I'm constantly pushing myself. I'm never satisfied with where I'm at the moment. I'm always wanting to do a little bit more. So I'm definitely right there with you on that. And in the coming weeks, I will return to some of the content that I was posting, which is just sharing about the different ways that I've been making money. I think the last episode that I uploaded was about affiliate marketing, and the other things that I want to talk about, the other things that I want to dedicate entire episodes to, are things like brand deals and sponsorships. That I think would be its own video. I have dabbled with Amazon I've dabbled with the Amazon influencer program and made a decent amount of money there, and that's something I want to dedicate an episode to. That's another one that if I just had 5 more hours in every single day, I would put a lot of energy into that, and I would love to see what I could scale that to. And then right now, I actually recently stumbled upon monetizing content on Facebook. So I'm excited to mess around with that for, a few more months and come back and share my results with you on that. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot I want to share with you. And of course, I'm also going to be meeting with other teacherpreneurs, teachers who are also making money on the side with their side hustles. I want to bring their stories to you, and I want us all to be able to learn from all of the amazing teachers out there who are doing amazing things. They are making the kind of life for themselves that they always wanted, knowing that maybe it's not possible with simply their teacher income. So I'm super excited about where this podcast is going. I'm thankful for the huge break and rest that I had, getting to the point where I am excited for the school year. It is a little slower to come on this year than in years past, but I'm getting to the point where I'm excited to get back in the classroom and in front of kids. I hope you're getting there too. I hope you were able to get some meaningful rest this summer, and I hope that this is a great school year for you. So let's use the last few days, last few weeks of this break in impactful and meaningful ways. Let's be really thoughtful of how we use our time. But as always, from me to you, thank you for being a teacher and for changing the lives of the students that you teach. Have a great one, and I will see you in the next episode.